Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. Hope you guys are doing well today. And in this video, I want to talk to you about itemization in Diablo 4, and especially at the end game, and why item power is probably the biggest bait in this game. So most people believe item power comes from the idea of like gear score, right? So gear score in Wrath when it first came out was a combination of all of the stats added together on an item. So a higher gear score piece might not be better, but it had more stats. That it was factual. It would always have more stats. So it was one of those things that it was very easy to differentiate that, whereas item power doesn't have that. So we're going to look at two different items here. In fact, we're going to look at three different items here. So we're going to look at my current two weapons and look at the dexterity rolls. 74 to 95 on the highest eye level piece, 74 to 95 on the second highest eye level piece, and 41 to 51 on the lowest eye level piece. Now, in terms of this, eye level, of course, or item power certainly has some relevance. However, just because I have a high item level piece, so if we look at this item power gloves, they're pretty high, 763, not the highest, but not the worst. But I don't use flurry. I don't use imbued skills. Attack speed isn't actually very good. Only one stat on this is actually a good piece. Now, what this means is you're pretty much gaining very little value. And what we noticed when we geared up, and I say we because this is a collective effort, it's not just me that's noticed this, and it has come as a group effort. We noticed that dropping your item power down, but getting the correctly statted items was a massive power increase. And then only replacing them with higher item power versions that rolled similarly or better. So as an example, I'm going to go through my gear and just talk through the process basically. So my best stats for a helmet basically have to have armor, life, cooldown reduction. My third option is my choice. I've personally had Dex roll here. That's great for me. At 771, I've not seen any helmet other than Harlequin's Crest, but that's irrelevant. Come even close to this. So there's no reason, even though it's only 7071, but I replaced an 800 plus item power weapon, helmet for this. We go to the next piece. So on a chest, I want life, armor, damage reduction while poisoned. Now, I've had a bit of unluckiness with rolls here, but you can still see none of the rolls are particularly high end or bad. They're in the middle somewhere, so I can still get improvements. But I can also, this could be my perfect chest piece. We look at my gloves. Now, on my gloves, I want penetrating shot, trap skill cooldown, crit strike chance, and then my fourth one is my choice. Now, I actually really wanted to replace these gloves until my build slightly changed. Well, actually, I really like the way that they've fallen now. On Death Trap being such a major part of my build, actually having the increased arm speed is really, really nice. So these gloves have all of a sudden become incredible. Now, uniques are just rolls, right? And typically, the bit that you're more interested in is actually the unique effect itself than the stats. For example, don't really care about dodge chance on these legs. I don't really care that I don't know it's lower armor because it's only 747. It rolled 15% cooldown increase on Death Trap while it has this effect. It's really, really nice. It rolled high elsewhere. I mean, decent damage to enemies, decent shadow damage, decent trap, damage affected to by trap skills. So it just really good. In terms of a weapon, then, so this is the one piece where a a damage increase is based on item power, right? So if I go quickly to my stash, I have a higher item level crossbow or item power crossbow in there, and I'll talk through my process of why I'm running this one currently and things like that. So I've got a random item in there, love it. So we'll take this crossbow out and compare it with this one. In fact, actually, I think we can do it like that. We can. There you go. So we have similar rolls, like max rolls, okay? Despite the fact that there is actually a higher item power item, okay? Both got the same 60 vulnerable damage implicit. They both have the 147 to 189 dexterity roll. They both have the 49.5 to 70.5 vulnerable damage. They've got very similar abilities to roll high or low. The only difference is the one on the right can actually roll much. It's going to actually hit slightly harder just because of its increased damage. Now, it isn't going to be much. We are talking minimal amounts at this point, and I will be changing this to eventually have damage to core skills or increased core skill damage, which will turn this into pretty much my best in slot crossbow. I won't ever replace it. Now, to further prove my point here, I'm going to take off this ring. So this is my main ring at the moment, or one of my main rings. Damage to poison enemies, crit strike damage, vulnerable damage, crit strike chance. Perfect offensive ring. Okay. I'm then going to try and compare, but apparently it's not going to work. Love it. Okay. So we're then going to look across. Now, you can see there is a slight difference between the maximum rolls of this one being a sacred item and this one being an ancestral item. The item level difference is like 50, it's quite substantial. But actually, this being life, vulnerable damage, crit strike chance, crit strike damage, it's a very, very tough ring to replace. I've still not found anything else to replace it when I'm literally got other pieces of gear that are best in slot. So what am I getting at in all of this? What's my point? I suppose is the real question. And the point I'm trying to make is when you're looking at gearing, especially in endgame, don't just go for item power. Item power is a complete trap. You want the right stats. And if you don't know what them stats are, I can go through a video talking about the important stats you want to be looking for, or potentially look at a couple of different builds. But just generally, vulnerable, crit strike chance, crit strike damage, they're the stats you're going to be wanting to bounce around. Increased armor, stay away from resistances, max life for defensive stats, that sort of thing. So, going to leave this one short and sweet today. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.